Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we have another update for Arena of Valor, July 24th, beta 46.1, and the winner of this patch, in my opinion, is mages as a whole. You'll see that down closer to the end, and you might have seen it on the thumbnail. There are a few adjustments to some of the items that mages use, and I'm pretty excited to see how it works out in the game, actually. So let's just jump into the notes and go through everything. The first thing they changed was the battlefield adjustments that they'd already made. They turned the lane speeds up on the outside lanes so that the mid didn't make it into battle first. All the minions hit at the same time at the beginning of the game. And it looks like that speed increase affected the late game on the outside lanes a little too much. So they're adjusting the pace of the outside creeps so that they, in the late game, they don't get too aggressive. Now here we go, the equipment adjustments. Now this might seem like a bad thing for mages at the beginning because Bareth's Agony is getting a bit of a nerf. Not really a nerf as much as it is a bug fix, really. So what we see here, it says that Bareth's Agony is stronger. It's getting used too much. So they've reduced the time that it triggers and limits the skill benefit. So the trigger interval for the same target is from 1 second to 3 seconds. But every time it triggers, the damage gets increased, and the limit to jungle creeps goes up as well. So it gets a little more value when it does trigger, but it doesn't trigger as often. And now I say that that's more kind of a bug fix because AOV Update English Facebook page broke it down really nicely, and I can't explain it all, but it's the amount of times the burn triggers in a second. It was actually stacking previously, which was a bug. It was triggering up to 9 consecutive burns. Now there will just be 3 consecutive burns, so it's going to be working more like as designed. And the current max damage dealt, assuming a hero has 10,000 health, ignoring the damage that will gradually decrease due to the current health, then current max damage dealt previously was 2340, and with the update it's 1400, so it has significant less effect. So this is going to be interesting because that way you don't necessarily need Bareth's Agony as regularly or as much. You could use some different builds in this. So with that being said, look at the buff that they gave to Boomstick. As a burst damage item, in the early game its burst is too low, so the explosive damage goes from 100 plus 0.4 magic pierce to 120 plus 0.4 magic pierce. So that Boomstick gets a buff. Apocalypse gets a buff in price. It won't take as much gold to buy it, so we'll be able to get into Apocalypse better. And this is one I'm kind of excited about. Orb of the Magi. It also has a buff. 1900, so 1800 coins is gold is all it's going to take to buy. But so you can purchase it earlier and you can start stacking it earlier. And what that means is Orb of the Magi actually stacks every 30 seconds. It stacks up to 10 times 110 HP, and now that's going to go to 120. So if you can get into this as a mid laner, as a mage, get into this a little quicker. It's 140 ability power, 10% cooldown reduction. So those are all good stats. Get into it sooner, get that 10 stacks of 120 HP. So you got an extra 1200 HP in 5 minutes. That's going to be great. And every time you level up, you get 20% and 10% HP and mana restoration. So this is pretty exciting to for mages to get into. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how all of these mage item adjustments work out, but I really think that this overall is a win for mages. Now we'll get into the hero adjustments. This is an exciting one too. Volkath is being buffed. I've played against some good Volkath, and I don't know why he needs a buff, but they say that he's got some weaknesses, and when he's not in his ultimate form, he has too little sustain and that sort of thing. So they have reduced the cooldown and remove the slow effect of his skill 1. The new effect is after hitting any target, your own normal attack will have true damage, which lasts for 5 seconds. So his skill 1 lost the slowdown effect, but true damage is always better. And so he'll have a true damage effect for 5 seconds, but his cooldown gets fixed at 8 seconds, so it won't be active quite as often. But then skill 2, the execution, the first stage damage goes up a little bit. Second stage damage also gets a little bit of a nerf there. It looks like 300 plus 60 divided by levels plus 1 AD plus 0.8 AD, so not much. Too much changes there for skill 2, but then the ultimate. Instead of a 60-second cooldown, it goes to a 50-second cooldown. That's going to be huge because his ultimate grants him HP restoration, death immunity. It's major damage. It's going to be great. So we're going to see a rise of Volkath in the ranks, and we're going to start getting menaced a little bit by some more Volkaths. Xanis is getting buffed. It says that his support role has returned to normal, but his junglers are a little bit weak now. So they have reduced the cooldown on skill 1 and increased the lifesteal on skill 2. So that's good news for Xanis. Arduin is getting buffed, and I've been up against, again, some really good Arduins. You can't hardly kill him, but they say he seems a little too bulky and his skill win period is too long. So they have changed his cooldown of skill 2, reduced it by 2 seconds. Good news for Arduin. Errol. We don't see too many Errols being played these days. It's really kind of a bug, but it's also a buff. Fixed a bug that caused his ultimate's Iron Body to be interrupted unexpectedly by a control effect. So he cannot be interrupted during his jump anymore. So that's good for Errol. Maybe we'll see him get some more action too in the games. We got a nerf for Dio-Chan. They just reworked her, and they are making changes to her kit left and right, trying to find the balance of what they've done. So right now they say her strength as a control mage is too high, so they've weakened 2 things, the movement speed and shield. So her passive shield is significantly lower, and the slowing effect of the cold is less. So instead of 50% movement speed reduction, it's a 40% movement speed reduction, and the attack speed decays. So nerfs for Dio-Chan. And then Grak is getting a nerf. It says that he's been getting some good play with varied runes, but his control heroes have become weaker. He's unaffected. We're reducing his tankiness and increasing the window of his ultimate, hoping to make him less overbearing. So he's getting an HP nerf, and his ultimate is getting a 10-second cooldown increase. So we won't see as much of that. So that's it for the 6 hero adjustments. And as always, I'm not going to read the bug fixes and optimizations. You can pause and read them here. Like I said at the beginning, I really feel like the item adjustments for mages is going to be the biggest win here in this patch. We'll see how it works out over time, but I think Boomstick and Orb of the Magi getting some buffs is a big thing. So we will see how that plays out in games. Well, that's it for this patch. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. All those things really help the channel grow, and I will see you all on the battlefield.